Tonight's topic is actually technology in the Christian life. Technology in the Christian life. Yeah, as I was looking for what I want to bring a topic about, is one of those things that technology in a Christian walk, how does it affect us? So I gathered some information and gathered some scriptures and sat down and pondered, about technology, how technology is used. How do we view technology? And I wanted to just talk about, we love our technology, and I'm one of them. I like technology. I like the back of the house part. We're hooking up network systems. David is just incredible. But we like our gadgets. It gives us sometimes the excitement in life, as far as technology. You got the internet, you got your iPods, you got your phones, more in their gaming consoles that they play with. Each has their part in technology, but it also has an impact on our lives. And how does it impact our life? Technology, has many benefits. Technology can be good, and if it's used for good. And that's what we want to discuss tonight. Now, I wanted to go to some verses tonight and just take and read for a minute and then ponder on it. First one I want to go to is Deuteronomy 6. Deuteronomy 6. And that's going to be 10 through 12. Deuteronomy 6, 10 through 12. And it says, "When the Lord your God brings you into the land he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you a land with large, flourishing cities you did not build, houses filled with all kinds of good things you did not provide, wells you did not dig, and vineyards and olive groves you did not plant. Then when you eat and are satisfied, be careful that you do not forget the Lord who brought you out of Egypt." There's some other references I want to just talk about, which what's talking about here is dangers and plenty. It's basically, and you go, okay, what does this have to do with technology? We can take with our technology and we can get so in depth in it that we forget God. We get so involved in it that we forget we're more involved in that than we are with our studies. We're thinking about God. So there's another one, Psalms 101. You'll go to 101, 2 through 4. And David here, it's a prayer for, to help walk with a blameless path. 2 through 4 says, "I would be careful to lead a blameless life. When will you come to me? I will walk in my house with blameless heart. I will set before my eyes no vile thing. The deeds of faithless men I hate. They will not cling to me. Men of perverse heart shall be far from me. I will have nothing to do with them." David's talking about his integrity here. Let's not let technology affect our integrity. As you can see, technology, like I said, it can be used for good, but it often be used for bad. There's times where temptations can come across the internet. It can come across in different forms. We just got to be cautious of what we do. When the internet first came out, like I said, I've been following technology for a long time. And before you did a search, you actually had to know the website. and you had to type in the website. It was a HTTPS, colon, //, and then the site, and then .com. Well, there was one time I was searching something, and it was basically about the White House. Well, when you put in that address, and you put in White House, and you put .com, it took you to a totally different site. And it was one of those, it was like, oh, get out of this, get out of this, get out of this. And that was basically, it was a bad website, put it that way. To go to it, you had to put .gov, G-O-V, to be able to get to the site you wanted to. But that's just like now. It's a lure. It can be a lure if it let you. You can go searching for something, and you can find all sorts of good things. I research, lessons. I research, questions that I have. When I'm reading through the Bible, I may come up with something and go, oh, I want to research that. And you research it and you find your answer. But we got to use caution as we're going through and we're using the internet. We got to, like I said, again, we just got to watch what we're doing. We got to be safe. There are programs out there like Norton, that use a safe site. So when you basically, Norton, you can set it up to where if you're trying to get to a site, if it's got some evils out there, it will block them. So there's always good filters that we can use, and just be cautious about it. So the deal is our integrity in front of our Lord, we want strong. We want to have good integrity before the Lord. If we find ourselves tracking off, it will affect our integrity. So we just got to be cautious with that. Let's go to Psalms 114, 4. And here's another one that's talking about Psalms 141, 4. Let not my heart be drawn to what is evil, to take part in wicked deeds with men who are evildoers. Let me not eat of their delicacies. So again, this is one of those that's, if we get caught up, using technology in the wrong way, we can find ourselves entrenched real fast. It's basically saying don't waste a whole lot of time. In other words, if we're getting there, let's find out what we're looking for and then get away from it. But don't spend a whole lot of time. And I want to talk about something in a minute, and people are going to go, oh, that's Facebook. Again, I'm a big fan of technology, but it's got its dangers. We need to be aware, and ensure we don't become a victim, or entrapped. Instead, we want to use technology to glorify God. You look at what we do now. We're looking. We got a website. People come to us. They look at our website. We can see how many people, what they call hits. How many times people look at our website. But just like this, it's right here. I got a program called WhatsApp. You got it. A number of us have WhatsApp. I stay in constant communication with Giovanni in Brazil. I'm constantly, we're going back and forth. And what the fun part is, he sends everything in Portuguese. I send it in English. So it gets me to looking at another language, and it gets him to understand another language, English. My goal is within a couple of years, now that the visas for Brazil has been dropped, my goal is try to get Giovanni up here. And I probably wouldn't be the best translator, so I'd probably ask Rick to come with him. to be able to speak to us, to share with what's going on there. We look at the internet as a good way to share God's Word. We've got the school of preaching that we're talking about. We're talking about possibly, if everything works right, we can become a host, and it's all done through the internet. We can be sharing the gospel with people across the world. We can have students from across the world, and it's all through the internet. So technology can be good. It's how we handle technology. Now I want to get into some areas. And this, again, it's not just Facebook. It's Twitter. It's Instagram. It's all of these things. Now, I want to share this. I pulled some information off the internet to share. Okay, here's called alienation. So we can alienate someone. If someone has, a share, that they put on Facebook or a social event, about a social event, and a person doesn't have Facebook, you just alienated someone, possible. If it's for, like, the church, and we say, hey, we're going to have a sandwich supper at 1 o'clock, and we put it on Facebook, there's nothing wrong with that. But what if you don't have a Facebook? I've got a Facebook. I was on it about 14 years ago. So if I got something, I ask Donna. Donna uses Facebook. But that's where we need to think about how we communicate. Because a lot of times, we want to take and share information. And that's a way to share it. But we need to maybe post it on our website so people get the website. There's a lot of folks that don't, nowadays, I don't know too many people that don't have a computer or a smart, except Harry. How about a smartphone? Okay. So you have a way to communicate. So like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's how we use it. Now, here's another instance. We're on Facebook. Can you talk bad about somebody on Facebook? Can that occur? Can you maybe write something on Facebook and somebody take the meaning a different way? So there's that possibility. So sometimes if you want to relay a message, sometimes it's better to pick up the phone and say, hey, I was just worried about you, checking on you. And that way you have a one-on-one conversation, a voice, to go with that. Because you can't tell off a text, you can't tell off a Facebook post, but you can tell somebody's feelings on a phone call. You can hear maybe a distress in a voice that you can say, can we have a cup of coffee? Can we sit down and talk? Or it may be joy. Somebody's so excited, hey, I want to get excited with you. But there's times, like I said, through all the technology we have, it could lead to a different answer. Here's another thing we want to talk about. People can become addicted to technology. There are so many times that I'm going to give you this example. And this is called the extreme addiction to technology. As soon as I put my glasses on. This is an example of a South Korean couple. starving their child to death while caring for a virtual child. It is extreme end of the spectrum, but the need to be plugged in, to know what's happening, to read updates, to share updates in a modern and unhelpful phenomenon that has caused this addiction. You know what I mean? People are truly that hooked into the system that they neglected their own child to take care of a virtual child. You know, to see the post, to see what's going on, and letting their own child starve. You know, that's pretty extreme. And that's, if we could only be that eager, you know, while we're on the internet searching God's Word. Taking the time and going through and saying, I want to see what Ecclesiastes says. You know, I want to see what Deuteronomy says. I want to see what John says. I want to see what Mark says. And go through and research that. You'll be surprised how much time you can build into that and enjoy it. I'm not a big reader, like books and things. I know some people love it. About 15 minutes into a book, I'm like this. You know, but I can get into the Bible, and I don't know what it is, but I say, okay, I'm going to read this chapter, and then, or this chapter, and then, okay, I'm going to read this chapter. I find myself reading more and more, for some reason, of the Bible. You know, I like reading the Bible, but I don't like reading newspapers. Like I said, if I'm on the internet, now I do get on Amazon, okay? So, but I like reading stories about the gospel. You know, I like reading stories from the history, you know, what God has shared with us. But, and then like I said, I do, you know, I do tie into Amazon. So I got that. So, but also, you know, another thing, these are, like I said, I've found these 5 examples. Another one's called laziness. And I'm not pointing the finger at anybody because, like the old saying says, you point at somebody, you get 3 pointed back at you. So, but I just found it interesting. You know, we talked about face-to-face communication. You know, and it always amazed me. Just go to Walmart, go to, you know, somewhere where there's a lot of people, and just watch, because it's amazing. You got your phone. I carry mine in my back pocket, and it goes bing. You know, everybody is fast to react, you know, to see what's going on in the world. You know, and it's and like I said, I carry 2 of them, one for work, one for personal. This one I try to turn off in the afternoon when I get a chance. But it's amazing how tied in we are. You know, how quick to react we are. So when you look at this, and I know the bosses are calling, you know, you've got, you know, the kids texting, and it's amazing, the millennial generation and the younger ones, that's Katrina. I can call her, and it'll ring and ring and ring. I can text her, and I'll get a text back. They'd rather text than talk. Tom?
I just like to make a comment about texting. So many interpretations. Just a few words different, and that interpretation goes completely sour. And our meeting was just crying her eyes out. A friend of hers had cancer. She didn't have cancer. Tex had a cortex.
And that's the autocorrect. I've done it myself. I've sent text out, and then you get a question mark back, and you're like, huh? And then you look at your text, and autocorrect has changed their meaning of the interpretation of it. No. Again, you're going to pick up when you're speaking one-on-one with someone, you're going to hear in their voice sadness, gladness, anger. So working with someone one-on-one, guess what? Telephone is a technology. Kathy?
What I hate seeing is like a group of teenagers in the same room texting each other instead of talking.
You do find that. You find kids nowadays, they will text, and they are. But I'll tell you what I've done a couple times, and just, I kid around a lot of times, but Donna and I went to a restaurant, and she had her phone out, and I thought, got mine out, so I was looking at it, and the waitress comes over and says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Hold on a second, I'm texting her to see what she wants for dinner." No, and she looks at me like, "Really?" But like I said, again, on laziness, we can become complacent. We can come where, in like this example, it talks about instead of calling and saying, "Hey, I'm not going to make it a Bible study tonight," this or that. Understandable. But a lot of times if you text it, like I said, again, changing the meaning of it, okay, they're not going to be here because. Do they need any help? Or are they just angry? Or are they missing because they want to miss? So we can become a little lazy at that. And I thought about this, and I said, please don't text the preacher and say, "Hey, time's up, it's lunchtime." So.
Things like going to Bible class and wind up going to Billy Bob's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be bad. So, yeah. Again, interpretation. So, anyway, that when we was talking about, like I said, there were some things here. Get over, potential to sin. And I'm not sure if, the potential was, the opportunities have increased with technology, or it's just simply more of a way that to get to them. But take that example, Facebook again. You can have someone become very jealous, envious, because you've posted something that, maybe they wish they had. David?
On the Facebook thing, I don't have one, never had one. Lori does. She'll occasionally share things with me that's on there. And it's so easy for people to put things on there that they wouldn't say to your face. It's easy to sit there and post things about people on that computer that you're not going to say to their face. And it happens all the time. Feelings get hurt.
Yeah.
Relationships go bad. It's
I don't know what emboldens people.
easy to do, and that's one reason I won't have it.
Yeah. It's true. Like I said, I don't have a Facebook, but Donna does. She keeps me up. Red Oak ISD, we've got a Facebook. I keep up with the superintendent and then some of the other faculty. Ask them, "Hey, what's going on?" They say, "If you get on Facebook, you'd know." And I'm like, "No." So I know I do track it that way. I'm honestly kind of leery, I guess you'd say. There's so much, you hear so many things about media that get pushed out there, and I'm kind of leery of it. But, pride, posting, promoting yourself, all the time. So what should we be promoting? Should we be promoting, hey, man, you should have been at church. You should have seen what was going on. You should have been part of it. You should have heard the singing. Positives about the body. Hey, we know the Lord's with us. Hey, we know we got a strong faith. Hey, we know who our God is. Instead of looking and going, well, she hurt my feelings, so I'm going to hurt her feeling back. I'm going to hurt his feelings, and go back and forth. Creates enemies. Why? We should be reaching out to the lost, right? We should be thinking about what we post. You could even, I'm not saying we here, but I think my understanding of it, that you can go to your post or then link to your post or something of that nature, where you can end up somewhere, next thing you know, you may have a person here, you going, oh wow, she's pretty, or wow, he's handsome. Leads the mind somewhere else, doesn't it? So be cautious of that. And then another one is gossip. Well, I heard, and then next thing you know, it's posted. Was that true? Because you heard it. Doesn't mean you heard it from the source. You heard it from the source, from the source, from the source. But yet, you decide, oh, this is what I heard, and you go out and post it, and it's the furthest thing from the truth. So what'd you just do? Is it being lied, doesn't it? Or false? Now, possibility, what we've said has just destroyed someone else that had no right to be destroyed like that. So we got to be cautious. We got to be smart about it. Wise as serpents, innocent as doves. There's also Facebook, and again, I know Facebook, y'all got Facebooks, there's a lot of you got Facebook. And I'm not just picking on Facebook, because Instagram is the same way, Twitter's the same way. You can spend a ton of time on the internet just on social media and just reading social media and going back and forth, to Instagram, to Facebook. And I'd pull this data up. People spend an average of 35 minutes on Facebook every day. According to data from Nelson's, America spends average of 10 hours, 39 minutes consuming media across their devices. That's the phones, computers. And they say we spend about 5 hours a day on our mobile devices. It's a lot of time. I know I do. My work phone, I've got emails, phone calls. I'm on this thing all day long. I've got a backup battery because the battery goes dead. I use it for business. I'm constantly internet. I may be searching for a part. So I use the internet. I use the phone. I use the text. So I use all the devices. But if I've got an issue, I'll pick up the phone and say, hey, let's discuss this. Because a lot of times the way texts come across is wrong. So people are going to look at you, and how do they view you in the world? Do they see you as a light or darkness? That's something that we got to take in consideration. Are we using technology for good or evil? What's that, sister?
That's like at work. Everything is electronic medical records, all this stuff. I like it. So we're making
That's what they told us about email. Guess what happens to email? I need to print that. I need to print that. So, yeah, paper. The data shows that paper is actually increased in usage.
I mean, the thing is if our computer system goes down, which we've had some programs go down, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You're stuck.
And that's true. And I know all of us, like I said, in some form or fashion, we use technology. And we're the same way. I print manuals off right and left. I print different things off right and left. So we've increased in paper usage. But again, back to these, I know that's my work phone, and the other one is my personal phone. I use my personal phone. I will use WhatsApp to communicate with Giovanni down in Brazil. He sends me pictures of baptisms that are happening, some of the youth activities that's happening. So the school, our institute, we've got like 25 students. The growth that's going on. He's sharing with me some of the studies that's going on. So if I didn't have this, I wouldn't know a thing, about what's going on in Brazil. So technology is not bad. It's just how we utilize technology. So if we utilize it in a proper way, guess what? We honor God. We lift him up. We lift our Lord up. We decide to go the south end of it, we're not honoring God. We're not utilizing our knowledge, what we should be doing to honor him. The other thing that, talking about electronics, and I know we're getting close to time, is we're actually looking at electronic giving. Because there's so many younger generations, some of them don't even have checkbooks. They have a debit card. They don't use cash. So we've been asked, for a while, we've kind of pushed off of it for a while. But you know what? It's getting to make more sense. With our younger generation, that's how they're going to end up giving. Now, will that take away the communion plate? No. I'm one of those, I still like to have something. But when we give our offering, who are we giving it to? We're giving it, that's our gift. That's our gift before the Lord. That's between me and my Lord, saying, Lord, thank you for blessing me. I just want to give this back to you here. And if I do it through a check, which is a piece of paper, or if I do it through electronic giving, I'm giving to the Lord. If you look at the old days, how did they used to do it? I say old days. I can still remember part of it. My dad, he's the one that did the work. My mom really did the work because she had 7 kids. So she took care of us 7 while Dad was out there building houses. A lot of his was cash. So guess what? On Sunday morning, it was cash. Instead of a check. So then checks are out there. Well, there's a lot of people giving checks, which, like myself, that's the way I do it. There's still a lot of people that give cash. But the electronic part of it, people can set it up, and, I get paid twice a month. So I break mine down by, if it's got 5 weeks this month, I still give out same amount. Through whatever the Lord blesses me with, I'll look at it and say, this is, Lord, I'm giving you this back and thank you. So if we can do that and we can set it up electronically, where, have you ever walked in and you went, oh man, I left my check at home. I didn't put it in my pocket. You know, if I have it set up to where it's an automatic payment, I know I'm going to be given to my Lord every week. And it's set up that way. So that's been a discussion. Did the bell ring? Oh, it did. Hey, brothers, sisters. Oh, David.
One more thing. I don't know how many listen to KLTY or Dave Ramsey. You listen to them. They actually have what they call, I think it's a new app you can get. It's a buddy system that you can hold each other accountable. You can put, I don't know how many people you can put on it, but they can see everything that you do on your phone, on your computer, anything you set up. And I don't know if the policy thing, I don't know if it's free. I was going to start looking into it just to kick the free. Something to think about.
Yeah.
Kids or whatever, or your computers at home or anything.
Well, you look at...
And you can do it voluntarily.
That's pretty interesting program. But that's one of those. I know we're fixing to lose time, but thank you, brother. Hey, that's the other thing is you look at cell phones. I had one of those cell phones with a bag. The first one, and then I had the brick, and then I had a BlackBerry, but now you're looking at some of these younger kids walking around. Guess what? My granddaughter's got a smartphone. And it's like, let me see that. Check it out. Keep track of it. Because Satan's around the corner. And he's looking to get who he can get. So let's be cautious. Let's use that technology for the gift of God. A gift to God instead of us going the other way. Brothers and sisters, thank you for being here. Love you.